Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode on this show, according to MzShellz. And this is your young lady, your friend, your sister, MzShellz. Today, we are calling all the persons who feel they have an inner purpose, an inner calling to dominate, to do something. There's a dream inside of you that you're desirous of pursuing. And guess what? We have the coach. We have the speaker. We have the author of two books who calls herself Ify the Dominator in our midst today. And we are going to be talking about walking in purpose, walking towards our destiny. She says her mission in life is to help women, and I'm going to insert men, to dominate what used to dominate them. And I thought that was just so phenomenal, and I'm really a fan. I have a copy of her book. I have all kind of things bookmarking her pages, even though she gave me a bookmarker. I have a mask, I have other things written all over the book. We're going to go in now. We're going to dive in with this lovely lady who's with us, a lovely woman of God, a mother, an author, and a precious soul. Good day, Miss Ify. How are you?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let me know. Let me just, I'm just going to say this book is really, I was on one creed for the longest, and I got to creed 19 and 20 or 18 and 19, and they both resonated with me. And it was even without reading your book, subconsciously, that's what I've been desiring to do, stay in my reality and each day produce the authentic me, be authentic in who I am and what God said my calling is, or what I want to pursue. And I really just want to say thank you so much for just listening to God and just working on this book. I'm still going through the different creeds, so I'm not going to say I've done it all, but I just want to say on behalf of the many readers, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So tell us about you. Tell us what, I know you have said it in some of your books before, but for those of us who have just seen you, never met you before, what was that moment that triggered, hey, I'm a dominator? What was it that said to you, I am more than whatever your circumstances were at the time you had that realization?
Yes, I think it was a culmination of so many things. I don't think it was just one moment, but I know that it began in my late 20s. The first thing that happened to me was seeing my sister go through a horrific accident that almost claimed her life. And keep in mind, my sister was the one who told me as a teenager that I would travel the world and speak. She saw my gift and while I was young. And when that happened to her, that was an emotional, moment for me because the day I walked into the hospital, she was almost lifeless. And thankfully, she survived the experience. We're excited about that now. But when I was going through it, that was one of the things that shook me to my core. And then 2 years after that, I lost my dad. And keep in mind also that my dad was the one who affirmed me. He gave me permission to be myself. And when I lost him, I felt like something was taken away from me. I was robbed, of my pride and joy, which was my dad.
Right.
And then a year after that, I got married because I wanted to fill a vacuum in me, right? Because of the absence of my father. And I got married. I came to the US in 2009, only to end up in a toxic and physically abusive marriage. That was when this person was birthed. Because in the middle of all that chaos, I said to myself, you know what? God did not create me to be dominated by someone else. God did not create me to be dominated by conditions and circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to make a choice. I always say that when you are in a crisis, you have two options. One is to sit back and do nothing. The second option you have is to take action. And so I decided to take action. And I'm so glad I did. And so 2 years after that, I lost one of my brothers. My oldest brother in our family passed in 2014. I went through a divorce in 2013. At that point, my life was spinning out of control. I had to sit with myself and say, you know what, God, I need help. I need direction. And that was when I began to write because I wanted to download what I had bottled up on the inside of me because I was in pain. I was bruised from all that happened. So I needed to pen that down and I began to write. And I never intended to write a book. it was something that happened along the way because I started writing in 2013. I released my first book in 2019, right? So in 2018 was when I began the publishing process. That was when God gave me the title of the book because I had no idea how to write a book, how to publish a book. I knew nothing. And I just followed the vision that God gave me about the throne. And I'll tell you the story because it's so impactful. And that was how the book was birthed. It was a few weeks after my wedding. As you know, I'm remarried, have a beautiful family. I'm excited about that. But in 2018, I got married. And then a few weeks later, I was laying down in bed. I wasn't sleeping, but my eyes were shut. And I saw a throne. And this throne was in a dark space. And there was a bright light shining on the throne. And in that vision, God showed me the throne and he said, this is the place I have prepared for you. All you have to do is go take it, take dominion. That was when the book title was birthed. And I woke up in tears. I knew that it was, the title of my book. And I began intentionally putting the chapters together. And I completed the book and sent it off, to be edited and formatted and published. And that was how the book came about.
And that's the first book.
That's the first book, Take Dominion.
I'm holding the second.
I know you are. So listen.
I'm just letting everybody know.
I know, right? I also have the second book. Hello, I have both actually. I have Take Dominion and the Dominator Script. So with the second one, just like the first, again, I did not intend to write another book. Trust me, I did not. I was simply writing affirmations for myself because I wanted to stay grounded. I often say that personal development is a daily walk. It's not something you do one time and then you throw it away. It's something you do every single day. And one thing I've learned to do over the years is when I wake up in the morning, I want to challenge every limiting belief, every false narrative that I may have told myself based on my past, based on what's happening. So I always want to confront that with my words. And so I say them and I write them all around me. And so when during the pandemic, I was writing and God said, you know what? Here's another book. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. And then he gave me the title, The Dominator's Creed. Every group of people have a language that they speak, right? And dominators are people who take charge. So when the book title came, it was so fitting for what I was experiencing at the time because God said to me, you want to give them the language of winners. When you listen to a dominator speak, there's something about their language. They don't talk like the masses. Other people will talk and not do anything. What makes the dominator different from the rest of the crowd is that they take massive action. So the creed is a set of beliefs, right? Rooted in understanding because you need to know what you're saying. It's not enough to say I'm unstoppable. Are you really unstoppable? Are your actions matching your words, or are you just saying words because they sound good? Right? So as a dominator, what makes you different from everybody else is the action you take. Because if you're not taking action, then you're not changing your life. Right. You're just static. You're stuck until you begin to take action. And that is where you have to change your paradigm. I talk about this so much. Until you change your paradigm, the way you're thinking, your paradigm is simply your habits, the things you've done over and over, and they seem right in your eyes because you've done it all through your life. Most of them were passed on to you, whether you know it or not. You and I have been dominated, right? We have been programmed by the constructs and psychological experiences and the past, and even our DNA from our parents. That's why we look like them. We were given our names and clothes to wear and things to do and things to say. So at the end of the day, we all have been programmed to do certain things. So that's the paradigm that is already in control. Now, as a dominator, you have to rise up and say, you know what? I will not be controlled by my paradigm anymore. I am going to let my marvelous mind, God has gifted us with so much on the inside. I'm going to unleash that and let that be the driving force of my life. That's what the creed is all about.
And then I also like, especially with the book, as you said, it's more than just your thinking, it's your action. You ask questions. You have us writing stuff down. You say, no, do, no, go and do. So all of those is helping to get the person to move beyond the book into actions and to delivering whatever it is that is in their heart that they need to pursue and to establish. So that's truly awesome. So Miss Ify the Dominator. Tell us about the origin of the Dominators Club. Because guys, she took it from just as she told us about that vision she had, but she has a movement. She has, and they have a gathering. So I had a beautiful pleasure of being on the one this year. Next year, I really want to come physically and
Yes.
be there in Texas. But yes, so she has had, sorry, two gatherings of the Dominators Club. And so, as I said, if you're listening, you're watching, you're getting curious, come closer, listen, 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 because I'm wanting at the end of this show, you are able to move into something positive, move into something tangible to access whatever it is that you, as I always said from January, guys, you have the answer to someone's why. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So tell us all about the Dominators Club.
Okay, so that was birth after the launch of the first book, Take Dominion. After the launch of the book, I wanted to stay in touch with my readers. I wanted them to understand how dominators think. And that was when the club idea came up. I was like, that's a cool name to start with. Let's start there. I wanted to have a community of people who are on a personal growth journey. Because if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And if you're going to grow, then you must change. And if you're going to change, it starts with your mindset. So I wanted to have a community of people who were on the same journey as myself. I wanted to share, what I was receiving and learning. So when I created the club, it's a private group on Facebook. You can always request to join. So that's how you get into the community. And now the website is out there. It's called thedominatorsclub.com. It has become a brand on its own. I never intended for this to happen, but that's what happens with vision. All you have to do is take one step. And as you take one step, other steps will be unveiled to you as you are obedient in that vision. And so that was when the Dominators Club was birthed. And through mentorship and guidance, I often say this: you cannot get to your destination without a mentor. It's impossible. I don't care how gifted you are. You can be loaded with so much information, so much ideas. You could be multi-talented. But if you do not have a mentor, you're going to be stuck in life. And for me, I knew early on that I needed to have a mentor in my life. Dr. Sean Anita is my mentor. And after one of my meetings with him, he said, there's so much more on the inside of you. And I said, of course I knew that, but I didn't know that it was a conference. And so he told me, I need you to call me back in a few days and give me results, because he's very result oriented.
Yes,
And
I
so
know that.
I went back home and I was like, God, what is this other thing? I know the book is there. I know the club is there. I know this is there. But what is this other thing that you're trying to birth within me? And on Sunday, I was going to church with my husband one Sunday morning. And while I was in the car, because I'm always with my journal, I'm always writing. As soon as I get it, I want to put it down somewhere. And so I was in the car. We were having a conversation. And then I was silent for a few minutes. It's like I just saw the name in the sky. This is crazy. I just saw the gathering of the Dominators. I looked at my husband. I said, I got it. He was like, what? I said, I got it. I got the conference name. He was looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I began to explain to him. I said, the annual conference that I'm going to start is going to be in the month of March. Then I launched the first book, Take Dominion, right? So it was just falling in place. It's going to be the last weekend in in the month of March every single year. And then I scheduled for the first one to happen in March of 2020, in the year of the pandemic. Who knew that the pandemic was coming? I had no idea. So I scheduled my conference, and 2 weeks to my conference, there was a lockdown. Right. And everyone was like, you know what, just go ahead and postpone your conference, push it to June. The pandemic will be over by then. Something in me said, no, you cannot shift the date. The date has already been set. All you have to do is change your strategy. I was like, okay, great. I'm going to do a virtual conference. I'm going to have the speakers sit with me so we can sit
The same room.
In the same room and then broadcast. And the idea came. I was so excited. I went on to print my flyers. I did everything I was supposed to do. And it was streaming even in Africa and America. I was so excited. It was a beautiful, grand opening. And I was like, you know what? This is it. And so every year, the gathering of the Dominators will hold in the month of March, the last weekend of the month of March. Yeah.
And it's so awesome because even when we think about that pandemic, people had projections. Technically, even though everything is open, if you go on the World Age WHO's website, it still says that it's a pandemic going on. So had you followed those naysayers and those voices, hey, you wouldn't even have done the second or the first.
Yes, yes.
And so, and I thought in my spirit, when you said it that you're gonna keep the date you said, I said that's what dominators do.
Yes, yes, yes. They
Yeah.
don't change the goal. The goal is not something you change. You change your method, you change
Right,
your strategy, but you don't change your goal simply
right,
because it's not working out. No, you go and adjust your strategy and not the goal itself. Yeah.
right. So do you hear that, guys? You have the goal, change your strategies maybe, or how you're going to deliver it, but still keep your goal in mind. And one of
Yes.
the things I wanted to also talk about too was when you mentioned about the whole thing of the gathering, just being there this year. I want to just say this is a small segue, but we have a lot of women that are out doing a lot of things, and I just wanted in your case to just shout out to Apostle Kennedy. I mean, he was videotaping, he was up and about, you could see him, and I'm like, look at him, supporting you in a tangible way. Even if he wasn't the videotaping person, he was there supporting. And we just wanted to not only say shout out to him, but for the many women out there who find themselves doing a dominating position or a leadership role, and their spouse or children or everybody else in their village is supporting them. And we just want to say shout out to all those persons who form their circle, who form
Yes.
that form of connection that keeps the vision moving. And I just wanted to honor him today. And he's not on set with us, but I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Thank
I
you.
thought I
Thank you.
wanted to mention that. And another thing I was thinking about, I'm gonna go back a little bit to the book. When you were talking about the creed and you said you had it all over your house, I kept
Yes.
thinking I need to find a way to put them all on something that I could just read in one instead of to be going through the. So at least I thought I'm in the right train of thought.
Yes. Yes. Yes,
Yes,
absolutely,
yes,
absolutely. And
awesome,
when you
awesome.
mentioned my husband, let me just, throw a light on that. Women that find themselves in leadership positions, like you said, how do they navigate the home front? I want to say this. I think, first of all, we need to understand the concept of dominion. God did not give us dominion over people. We need to be very clear on that. When I teach about taking dominion, I'm very clear as to what we're taking dominion over. We're not taking dominion over each other, not over
Right,
people, right? We are taking charge over situations and circumstances. Dominators are people that execute. They don't just talk the talk, they walk the talk. So at the end of the day, what I'm going to say to women who find themselves in positions like that is recognize that your leadership role is not for you to dominate other people. You're actually a servant. If you look at what leadership is really about,
mhm,
leadership is about serving other people. It's about being a servant. So when you see yourself as a servant, then you're humble. You don't become arrogant because you can make things happen, because you can execute things, because you can do this or that. No, you have to understand that you have been gifted with something supernatural that God has given to you, but He didn't give it to you for you to dominate other people. He gave it to you for you to make life better, to add value to other people.
right,
So when you communicate that with your spouse, with your family, you're going to gain their support. As opposed to I'm the boss, I'm this, I'm that, and you
mhm,
guys have to come support me. No, you have to be humble about it, because at the end of the day, there is greatness in every one of us, and no one person can do it alone. You need people in your life to complement you, to amplify your voice. And so what my husband and my family does for me is that they support my vision because they understand my heart. And I share that with them every single day as I go. So
right. That's
just wanted
important.
to share that.
Right,
Yes.
that's very important. Thank you so much for adding that little dynamics to it, and the fact that you say you communicate your vision, you communicate your role, and on that note, in terms this month I'm focusing on family, focusing on the family. We have Parenting Day coming up. How, as a parent, have you been able to not only juggle, if that's the word to use, but to bring everything all together? What
Right,
do you
right,
have? What's your go-to thing to keep everything together as you navigate not only Dominators Club, your home,
right.
your personal life, your ministry, so on and so forth?
I think the first thing is self-care. You got to take care of you first. Understand that you are only a vessel, right? If you do not take care of your temple, if you do not take care of your body, if you do not rest, if you do not energize yourself, if you do not do the things that make you happy, then you're not going to be available for anybody, not your spouse, not your kids, not your friends. So one thing I do for me is even before the whole family wakes up, I am awake and I'm giving myself the nourishment that I need mentally, spiritually, physically, so that by the time they're waking up, I can tend to them, right? I can cater to their needs. So one thing I would say is there's really no, people call it balance. I don't believe in balance. I believe in harmony, right? Balance is trying to juggle everything. You're not gonna do that. You're only one person. There's no way you're gonna juggle ministry, family, vision, whatever. You're gonna break, you're gonna fall apart. That's just the truth. So what I do is I'm in harmony and I try to be present in anything I'm doing. Like right now I'm focused on recording with you. Right. You're the most important person to me right now. I'm not thinking about my kids. They're fine wherever they are. I am focused on what I'm doing. So I try to be present in every moment, right? I'm not at work. I'm not working thinking about family. I'm not with the family thinking about work. No, I have to control the way my mind goes. That way I can be present and deliver all I can in that moment. That's the harmony. So that way there's no friction. When I'm done with this, I move on to the next, right? So that's how I navigate and operate. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. And when you were saying that, I found myself sometimes multitasking, and there will be time when it's getting a little bit overhand, and I talk to myself and I say, Shelly, stay in the moment.
Yes,
Calm
yes.
down, stay in the moment, just focus. And then sometimes when those thoughts, those ideas, those creative ideas come, I say, okay, just write it down and go back to sleep. You need to get some sleep. But
Right,
once you
right.
write it down and go back to sleep, I'm fine. So you're so true about harmony. I like that harmony.
Yes,
Increase.
yes.
I like that concept.
Overbalance, harmony over
Over
balance.
balance. Yeah,
Because
perfect.
balance is overrated. Who can really achieve balance? Think
That's
about it.
true. That's
It's
true.
not achievable. Yeah.
Awesome. Learning with some gems, some bars are being dropped here. If it was a live, I'll tell everybody put a one in the comment. But still put a one in the comment anyway if you agree with what we've been talking about, guys. And I'm gonna just put a little segue. How can persons contact you? Because I know you have some programs coming up. That 30-day journey for women, and I'm thinking also men. Even though
And yes, the focus is women, but of
okay,
course, I will take male clients if they approach me. So the course I created was actually birthed out of my experience
okay,
because I've realized that domestic abuse is actually a real thing. Do you know that 1 in 3 women experience domestic abuse during their lifetime? That is a staggering statistics, and we have to take it seriously.
right.
People are losing their lives because of domestic abuse. And so I wanted to create a course because I've been through it. I know what it's like. It's nothing you want to experience. I don't pray that over anybody because it's just not a place you want to be in. It's a toxic environment and it's a toxic experience. And so I created the course, Woman Lose Yourself in 30 Days. How to say no to verbal and physical abuse. Break free from the shackles of guilt and shame, because that's one thing that women can just let go of after they go through something traumatic. How to regain your confidence, turn your pain into purpose, shift your mindset from being a victim to becoming a victor, and ultimately dominating every area of your life. So it's a 4-week program that I open up to the public, especially women, because I'm a woman. So, hey, I, cater to more of women than men. But like you said, the program is open to the public. It is on the theDominatorsClub.com. You can go there and register. But it's a course that if you know you've been through something like that, domestic abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse of any kind, then you absolutely want to be part of the program.
All right. And then I visited their website. I think there's a training coming up in August.
Yeah, so it's every single month. So whenever you go there, you can register for like the month of June is over. I'm in the middle of, the second because I started this,
July.
class
Yeah, I realized that
last month.
July, and I'm like,
Yes.
August is next, right?
Yeah, so it's something I just started. So it's gonna be every 4 weeks. So it's gonna be every month. So whenever you go on there, you can just register for the next class.
Awesome, awesome, guys. So make sure you plug in on that because that's something that really sparked my interest when I heard her. I think you mentioned it at the the conference. Did you?
No, at the conference, I didn't have this course in
Okay,
mind then.
okay. I guess
Yeah.
when we had that
What
one
I
on
mentioned was the coaching. So there's
okay.
general coaching, of course, for people that want me to coach them one-on-one.
Right,
This
right.
one is a group, it's a group coaching. That way you can also have a community, because I believe in community. I love one-on-ones, but also I love a group, because in a group setting, we can all learn together. The synergy is always there, and we can build friendships and relationships. So for me, I love group coaching because I get to be in the company of other people.
Awesome. So now,
Yes.
guys, we are getting to know a little bit more about our guest. She just mentioned that she's a coach, right? So what I want to find out, and I found it really intriguing when I started doing more reading and researching. I know you were a coach, but you have a connection with John Maxwell. That's what
I
you said.
do.
So
I
how
do.
did that work? And also, not only apart from that, but if someone in that's watching want to pursue that avenue of being a coach, do you coach persons to be coaches, or
I
you?
do. I
Okay,
do.
all right.
So
Let's
people
talk
have
about that.
approached me. Yes, people have approached me for, how to speak, how to coach, how to do what I do. And I walk them through my journey. My journey does not have to be yours, but I'll give you the blueprint. That way you make a choice on which
Mhm.
way you want to go. When I began coaching, I didn't know that I was coaching. I thought I was just giving great advice. It's funny because my friends would come to me and they would tell me what they were going through, and I would offer, solution, and they would go back, apply what I've told them, and they'll come back and tell me, "Oh my God, it worked." And I'll be like, "Okay, great." I did not know that I was literally coaching. It comes natural for me. So when I realized that, okay, this is actually, you're offering a service, I decided to be more intentional with, delivering, the coaching opportunity to people. So that was when I decided to make it official. So I got certified with the John Maxwell team. So I'm a speaker, coach, and trainer with the John Maxwell team. Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So and also want to point out something. Earlier, she said, keep her goal, even though the strategies may change. You know what she just said a while ago? Intentional. Be
Yes.
intentional about the journey you're going on, and don't be afraid to, as she said, go and get additional help. Have a mentor. So I'm helping my person to realize that in being a dominator, it takes all of these things to be working in motion, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Absolutely does. Yes.
So, all right. So real quick, I wanted you could just pick one of the creeds.
Yes.
Do you know them by the top? Is it that you're
And
memorizing?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
oh
it's
yeah.
fine.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
see,
my book, right?
yes, it
So,
is. But then I don't know. For me, I know I internalize stuff differently, so I don't even know why I asked you that question. I
and you can actually, if you remember at the end of the book, I don't know if you've read it to the end, but at the end of the book, I say, this is not the end. It is
right.
only the
Yes, I
beginning of
remember that. This
something
is at
new,
the end.
right?
Right.
This is just a format for you to create your own creed. However, you choose to present it to yourself, because the whole idea is not really for you to recite it. It's for you to understand what you're saying. That
Right.
way you can put it to work. Because again, if you recite it and you don't do anything, your life will not change, right?
Right.
So my favorite one is the creed number one. And
Mm-hmm.
it says, I know exactly what I want out of life, and I am committed to staking my entire existence on its actualization. I understand that before success comes into my life, I must be met with defeat. So I will outlast every form of defeat. Determination is my defense. Perseverance is my partner, and faith is my fortress. But that's the one I love so much, and I say to myself as often as I remember to say it. I say that because I think the starting point is knowing what you want out of life. And a lot of people want to change their results. Nothing bad with that. You want to change your income, you want to change your relationships, you want to change your zip code, whatever, your job, your career. But that's the end point, right? First of all, you have to know where you're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there, right? You also need to know where you are. A lot of people might know where they're going, but they don't know where they are mentally. I'm not talking about physically. You're in your home. I'm in my
Right.
home. We know where we are physically, but we know where we are mentally. Because until you know where you are mentally, you may not be thinking on the level of someone who wants to change a job or a career. Because remember, for you to get to where you're going, you have to think on that level. If you don't dial my number, you're not going to get. You have to get on the frequency of what you say you want. A lot of people are saying, I want this, I want that. But the missing link is they are not thinking and acting like the people they want to become. Step one is knowing what you want. And so I say that to myself. I know exactly where I'm going. I'm not guessing. I know exactly what I want my brand to look like. I know exactly what I want my work to represent. I know the people I've been called to help. I know the people I've been called to coach. And so I have that mental picture. I'm not confused. Everyone is not my client. And I know that, because you got to know that. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing people all over the place as a coach. You're going to think, oh, this person should be my client, the other person should be my client. And before you know it, you're scattered, you're all over the place, and no one can even say this is what you do. So at the end of the day, the first thing you want to do is you want to determine, where am I going? That's number one. Who do I want to become? And then once you realize who you want to become, then you have to begin to think and act like that person. That's how you would ultimately become that person. I often tell people, you're not going to become who other people say you're going to be. You're not going to become even who God says you're going to be, unless you begin to think and act like that person.
True.
Now, this might shake a little, some people that call themselves Christians. I'm a Christian, but what I'm saying to you is, you cannot expect to do nothing and become all that God wants you to be. No, there is a process, right? And until you're willing to yield yourself to that process, which takes work, that's why I say do the work. After each creed, I say do the work, because until you do the work,
right.
Nothing will change. Your life is still going to remain at the same level until you do the work. And when you do the work, then you up level yourself.
Wow, awesome. I forgot to walk in tissue. I know this one is gonna make me start crying because you speak with such clarity. I mean, I read it, but hearing it is like a different thing, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, I felt myself tearing up and everything. And I don't have any tissue. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That sounds really like a good start to someone's journey, guys. And don't be afraid to reach out. You're at give us your hashtag again.
So I am on Facebook and Instagram, and also you can find me on the website. The website is theDomинatorsClub.com. The handle on Facebook and Instagram is Ify the Dominator.
Right, Ify the Dominator. Right. So guys, if you want to plug in, get closer, I recommend you do. And that's where you can find her. And I also admire your support. I must say, even though this is not the end, I still have one more thing to ask you to do for us. But I just say thank you so much for supporting my dream, my vision. I would post and I would see you, just your likes. You didn't say anything, but it kept me going. And I really just want to say thank you so much for supporting the space I'm operating of positivity and celebratory nature, because you find so much negativity out there, but I'm staying true. As you, so that's what I say, as you talk, I'm just thinking about my life and my passion to staying on this path of, enlightening persons, celebrating moments in life that persons don't even think about.
Yes.
And so I appreciate your support. And I'm really, really looking forward to doing more with you. And again, this is not the end, but that's how I operate. When I think about something to just pause and say thank you about, I want to do that. I want to do that. So real quick, I listened in on one of your, I think it was your podcast episode.
Yes.
Tell us about that journey of being a podcaster. So what I was listening to was you referring to what was that thing in March again? International Women's Day. So you're drawing.
Oh yes. I was talking about queenship. Yes.
Right.
So the podcast was birthed in the pandemic as well. After my my conference in March, everyone was home, right? We're all locked in. And I was, first of all, I love to speak. So I was like, first of all, I have a lot to say, and I can't just wait for someone to say, okay, if you have a program, come speak here. I said, you know what? I'm going to turn on my phone and I'm going to record myself. And so I went online and I found an app called Anchor. And with Anchor, you can record yourself, you can upload your podcast. So I did the whole production by myself in my bedroom.
Awesome.
Because
So
I just said I'm
you
not
have
gonna
a
wait.
right smartphone on what you can get done.
Exactly. So I that was how that came about. I never intended to be a podcaster. That is just something that came along because of the environment we're in. So it was just about taking advantage of the pandemic. One thing I realized is in the face of affliction, in the face of something terrible like a pandemic, there is always an opportunity for growth.
Right. And
that was how I saw 2020. And for me, I didn't feel the pandemic. And, I my heart goes out to everyone who, suffered adversely because of the pandemic, but I was unbothered because I was creative while the world was going crazy. I'm like, I'm not gonna be going crazy. That was when I finished my second book, The Dominator's Creed. So all that happened during the pandemic. It just forced me to become more creative with what I wanted to do. And so that was how that came out.
Right.
Yes.
Awesome. Because just to say that just like about 2 weeks ago, I found myself starting to think about doing podcasting. So I'm researching it and so putting it out there. And I'm actually thinking about going in that space because I too believe that I have something to say and that my voice is very relevant for this time.
Yes, it is. Your voice is your power. That's what you got.
Exactly. So
no one can take it away from you. So
I'm taking notes from you while you're even saying what you did to how to do it. So it's just really pretty awesome just knowing that even the start of this channel, years ago the Lord told me about doing a production thing. And I was like, oh. And then after last year, I'm like, you know what? Let's just start. Let's just start with this YouTube channel. Let's see the direction it would take. And as I said, I'm now thinking along the line of podcasting. So as you said, Apostle said to you that there was more within. And I really truly believe that there's more within me too. So
there is.
Yeah, right. So I'm definitely striving to bring forth everything. And I'm looking forward to doing my writing.
Yes.
So there is
what I would say to you is one step at a time.
Right.
Sometimes we can get discombobulated with so many things going on. Too many ideas could be a problem, really, if you're not executing. Let me just put that out there. Too many ideas can be a problem if you're not doing something. So when the idea hits you and you're convinced that this is your path, then go for it. Yeah, move. Because if you don't, another idea is going to come, and another is going to come, and another is going to come. And before you know it, you have all these ideas and you're not doing anything with all of them, right? So you want to take one step at a time. There's a quote that I like: until you take the first step, you're not going to see the whole staircase. You're never going to see it. You just have to trust God. You gave me this idea. So when you have this divine idea, internalize it and take action. That's what I do. Internalize, pray. That's when you pray. That's when you meditate. But once you're done with all of that, take action, boo.
Action. All right.
Yes.
Awesome. I feel like I was just in a coaching session. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and sitting with us and talking about the Dominators Club and the Dominators
Creed?
Everything Dominators.
Yes, Everything Dominators.
I've never read the first book, but in closing, could you share something about the first book? Like how you were able to share something on the Dominators Creed?
Yes. So the first book is titled Take Dominion, is right here. And it says dominion is yours for the taking. God has given you and I dominion. But one thing that I realized is just because you have it doesn't mean that you are exercising it. It's like having the keys to a brand new car. You could have this brand new car sitting on your driveway and you have the keys in your pocket. You can walk around and talk about how beautiful the car is. But until you get into the car and drive the car, you don't get to experience the power behind the wheels. That is what dominion looks like. We both have it. You have so much on the inside of you. I have so much on the inside of me. But until I unleash what's on the inside of me, I'm powerless. And God is a powerful God. So we are both powerful beings. And we have to believe that. So don't be afraid of your power. I'm all things dominion, power, and authority. If that threatens anyone, I'm sorry, I'm not for you. But I'm not going to shrink for nobody, because this is who God has made me to be. Becoming a dominator is not another thing to become. It's who God made me to be. And my assignment is to dominate the very things that once dominated me.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a good way to end. Right, guys.
You asked for it.
And I wanted it. Okay, guys. We had a lovely session here with Miss Ify the Dominator. And again, she can be located on social media at Ify the Dominator or the dominatorsclub.com. Please join in, check out the courses, check out her books. And if you notice how she was able to pour into us, and even as she spoke directly to me, I think you guys could actually feel some of that for you. It won't be a waste of your time to plug in and benefit from the program she's offering, whether it's the courses or the books, to make a better you, because we have the opportunity to be dominators, to have dominion. Even if you're not even spiritual, we're not even talking about spirituality. It's in our scope, because that's how God created us, to be dominators. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for making it according to MzShellz. And remember, take care of you, because there's only one you. And remember, you are number one. Have a
Yes.
great day, guys. Thank you so much, Minister Ify, for coming by.
Yeah.
I really appreciated it. God bless you and have a great rest of your day. Say hi to Apostle for me too.
I sure will. Thank you so much for having me.